Okay, testing, testing. Yes, Duane, that was very funny. Ha 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 ha.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Starfield with Normal People. My name's Duane, and I'm here with my good friend Michael. Michael, what's going on, man?
Well, I'm just, playing Starfield, and man, I love seeing people pop into the Discord
I do
and
too.
reading all their stories. And
We're building such an awesome community.
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
say community, but we're building it. We're
We're
building that
building
thing.
it. He can't say it, but we're making one.
Community.
Yeah, it's really fun. And so if you haven't joined the Discord yet, definitely click the link. It's in the show notes and come on by and share your screenshots.
Like it's adding a whole layer of excitement to the game that wasn't there
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
me, at least. I don't know about other people, but there's like this. And I said it before. There's a sense of community that you get in the Discord, and now you have reasons to do things in the game that you never had before.
There's a lot of hate out there on the internet. And so it's
Yes.
nice to have a community. I was actually thinking the other day, I was like, man, our intro should be welcome to Starfield with Normal People, where we love the game but criticize it just enough to show that we're not shills. You know what I mean? It's like, but
That's
we
our
still
plan.
love the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think when you're on YouTube or some of the other social media sites, you see these TikTok or YouTube stories that are very negative. The lead, it's clickbait.
It gets
it-
clicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is what's wrong with Starfield. Actually, I've been seeing this I like one movie thing on Facebook, and now I'm getting all the Facebook feed stuff, but it's this horrible series of articles on Screen Rant, and I hate to even say the website's name, but
Yeah.
they have to be pointed out for the atrocity that this series of articles is, which is taking all our beloved Gen X classics like The Goonies and Raiders of the Lost Ark, like iconic films,
Yeah.
and saying, this is like the title, it's like the 10 reasons why Raiders of the Lost Ark has not aged well. And like number one is like, the special effects don't look so
Oh,
great.
yeah.
I closed the article so fast. I mean, first of all, I was like, I'm not even gonna
What garbage.
Oh, it totally was. It pissed me off. It must have been like AI or something.
It's
AI would not be that dumb.
and it's like, and I love when the articles are like, here's 12 reasons why such and such is actually a bad film.
Mhm.
And it's like,
No, it's not.
first of all,
Yeah.
people liked it for some reason at that time. Like, so are we really, like, there's so much that has happened, like, since I was thinking about this with Ghostbusters.
Mhm.
It's interesting watching Ghostbusters now because it's not structured great, but that's because we have, like, Hollywood has refined, for better or worse, a formula for movies, and we are so accustomed to that formula.
They have. Yep.
And I feel like, to bring it back to Starfield, I feel like that happens with games too. Games are such big budgets, they can't take risks. And so a lot of them follow a formula. You look at Call of Duty, or you look at, I don't want to get hate, but a lot of what PlayStation games do
Mhm.
it follows a very specific formula.
Absolutely. You start out in a
works.
pre-game cutscene that maybe takes place later in the game, but it puts you right into the action.
Yeah,
And then
that
you're
or
dumped
yeah.
into the actual first part of the story, Act 1, if you will. Right?
Yeah, and it's like the way collectibles work, and the way that exactly where the third person camera is, and the way
Mhm.
that it goes into cinematics. It all follows a formula, and we get comfortable with that formula. And so whenever a game or a movie sort of goes outside that formula, it's tough to know if it's good or not.
That's
because
why
it feels wrong.
indie games are so important, because they're
Yeah.
doing things that are against the grain.
Yep.
And they're doing exciting things graphically too. Like a AAA title couldn't make a video game that looks like a 1980s Tandy, computer graphics, or
Yeah.
like Amiga or something like that, to go way, way back. But yeah, I mean, the whole indie scene is important. And then what's interesting is like the AAA titles will see what indie games are doing, and then they'll sometimes take those ideas and implement them into mainstream gaming.
Yeah. And so, what's interesting is, so Starfield, of course, Bethesda is not an indie company.
Not at all.
They're not. However, because Todd, he definitely
Who?
has Todd Howard. He definitely he has his hands in kind of every decision. There was actually an article talking about how some former employee was like negatively saying that every decision would go through him, and I'm like,
He's the Steve
yeah.
Jobs of Bethesda.
I'm like, yeah,
with his black turtleneck running around and
he's the
yelling at people.
director.
Yeah.
That's what yes, he wants to make those decisions. That's what happens.
If you have a huge title with no focus, it becomes a mess. So
Right.
I'm for the Todd Howards of the world.
And that's the thing that's what makes it almost feel like an indie game, even though it's a big budget AAA game, is because you have somebody with a vision. Here's the thing. I don't want to discount the team, because a whole team makes that game.
Wait, he didn't make this all on his own?
On his own,
in Unity?
On his in his garage. There's a whole team, so I don't want to discount that. But there is a person with a vision making decisions. When you
the
have
auteur theory in film, right?
Yes.
But there's counterpoints to that too. Like,
right.
And like what's interesting is like the most famous auteurs in film almost always are very humble and credit their crew a lot of times. Not always. But
they
like
should.
Scorsese, if you talk to him, he's very complimentary of the actors.
And he's
like
clearly an auteur.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I've seen Todd definitely credits his team. Like, he gives credit to the team, but having that singular focus is so important. That's what, to me, makes it feel like an indie game. That's what makes it feel like it takes risks, which is important in games.
What's a risk in Starfield? Give me an example.
What is a risk? Yeah, I might be completely wrong. No, but let me think.
To put you on the spot.
I think it's good to put me on the spot, because I made a statement.
Yeah.
No, I think a risk would be, well, actually, one thing that we wanted to talk about. The decision to have over 1,000 planets or moons that
you can
are
explore.
somewhat empty, that you can explore. To me, that is a risk, because you're actually seeing a huge debate going on right now.
You had an interesting quote from someone on Todd's team.
Yes, in a recent interview. So they had Todd Howard there, and they also had Ashley Chang, who is Bethesda's managing director. And they were talking about the 1,000 planets and whether it's overwhelming or that kind of thing, and some of them being boring. So people are saying they're boring. So Chang said that not every planet is supposed to be Disney World. And then she said, when the astronauts went to the moon, there was nothing there, and they certainly weren't bored. Now, this has sparked some debate, because when you're an astronaut going to the moon, that's real life.
Yeah.
That's
threat
very
of
different.
Death is all around you.
Yeah.
And just relying on 10,000 of the lowest subcontractors for your spacesuit.
Just the adrenaline alone.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're in a low gravity environment in real life. So,
and Kubrick's soundstage.
Yeah. 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 We want to get into what really happened. But the thing is, like, it's an interesting statement that I think we should talk about, because I get where they're coming from. But I also understand the people that are like, what are you supposed to do on these planets? There's nothing, there's just rocks.
It's the problem with being famous and saying literally anything.
Yeah.
Everyone will dissect every little section, every word, noun of your sentence, and put meaning into it that you didn't really infer. Point is, not to defend them or even infer my own meaning, but I get where she's coming from. It's the excitement of exploration and that initial discovery.
Yeah.
Of course, it's way different in a video game. A video game is a heightened sense of excitement, and it's a movie. A movie is not the same as reality.
Right.
A video game is not the same as reality. So that's where the arguments are coming from, right?
Yeah. So there are some there's been some developers that have said like, oh, it shouldn't have been 1,000 planets. It should have been 100 more well crafted planets.
Hmm.
So that to me is an interesting debate because so we're going to talk about this. We're going to kind of do devil's advocate for the 100 planets argument.
Hmm. 100
I'm
versus 1,000.
100 versus 1,000. I
It's
am
300 in
team
here with the Spartans.
with the Spartan. Yeah, I'm team 1,000.
Right. I'm team 100. This is Bethesda.
We need like ka-ching, like a
Hmm.
swords clashing here.
Blood splatter.
So yeah, so okay, let's hear about the argument for 100 planets.
Yeah, 100 planets is Fallout 4. Okay, hear me out on this. Fallout 4 is not procedurally generated. It is a crafted game from bookend to bookend. Everything knows where everything is in the code. It's not created on the fly. Ergo, if Bethesda wanted to continue to grow as a company, they needed to up their game. Procedurally generated content is the future, and it allows for a timeline that will expand this universe indefinitely. You know, people could conceivably be playing this game 25 years from now. I still play video games from 25 years ago,
Yeah.
believe it or not. So that's easily conceivable. Or longer. Heck, I have a classic arcade cabinet in my office.
Yeah.
And when did Pac-Man come out? 1980? I mean, that's 82 or 81. How long ago is that?
Yeah.
So if you're talking about, hey, 100 planets, would that have made a better initial game for 99% of the players? Yes, I agree with that, because I just saw another article, or at least a Redditor had pointed out that the achievement of, I think it's called like boots on the ground.
Oh yeah.
It's landing on 100 different planets.
Right.
Take a wild guess, how many Xbox players have that achievement that have Starfield installed?
See, I would have guessed like 30%.
Mm-hmm.
I would have guessed that because
Tenfold you're off. It's 3%.
yeah,
Which is
that is
stunningly
crazy.
low.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's 1,000, so that's not even 10% of. So 3% are hitting 10% of the planets. How many
Right.
people have hit, 250 planets?
Yeah.
Like 0.001%.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
it's
given this game
wildly
has only
less.
been out for 3
Two
months.
months.
Yeah. So, I
3
mean, it's
months.
not
Yeah.
quite fair to make this comparison right now. But, I mean, even a year from now, will it have changed that much? I don't think it will have.
I wonder. I feel yeah, I don't think it'll change that much. I think that achievement will go up only to maybe like 10%.
I don't
Is
even
that
think it'll get there, because
wow.
more people will install and play
Oh,
once the
true.
game goes on sale, or
Yeah.
on
Or
PC
they
at
get
least.
Game Pass or
Hmm.
yeah.
They'll try it and they'll go through this
That's
storyline.
true. So that's interesting. So if most players, if 97% of players are never even going to hit 100 planets,
Hmm.
yeah, was it a mistake to do 1,000? That's interesting. And I also see an argument uh, about the procedurally generated content. I see people talking about how they prefer Skyrim's exploration.
Hmm.
Here's the thing: they're to me, it's even though it's both exploration, it's to me it's apples and oranges because in Skyrim, the idea is there's this country and or a province or whatever, and you are exploring it and you're becoming familiar with it.
Hmm.
Games like Skyrim, over time, you're supposed to say, "Oh, I know this road. I know where that town is," and you are supposed to feel like you live there.
Nostalgia and its world building.
It's world building.
That's a major negative with Starfield because you have the hubs, kind of New Atlantis, and so there's a little world building there, but beyond that,
Right.
you don't have that familiarity of, or maybe you do because you can go back to and to your outposts and stuff.
You have the familiarity with the towns and such. So my point though is I'm fine with it. I'm fine with
Hmm.
Starfield. In fact, I prefer this. I'm not saying that I prefer it over Skyrim and getting familiar with the land. I'm just saying I like the different experiences.
Yeah.
Because if you're making a game about space, nothing should feel familiar when you go out to a planet in a random point of the planet. I keep going back to this idea of Minecraft.
Hmm.
Minecraft is 100% procedurally generated. Here, the funny thing about Minecraft is I personally I don't like the way it looks.
Hmm.
I'm okay with it though because it's Minecraft and it's cute and it's whatever, but the my point is that the magic of Minecraft is every time you start a new world and you look out at the horizon, it is new and different.
Hmm.
And the fact that I will be playing Starfield, if I continue to play it for years, I'm always going to see new vistas, new mountains, new hills, new like rivers, and yes, there are rivers. They're rare, but
Hmm.
you can find them.
Oh, interesting. I don't think I've seen a river yet.
They're very, very rare. I
Hmm.
think I've only seen so I've seen a picture of one,
Yeah.
and I've also seen like in my own games, I've seen like some dried up riverbed
Right.
areas.
I've seen rivers of blood,
Yeah.
spacer blood.
So it's just different experiences. And I feel like that's appropriate for a game about space.
Could they have done spent more time on 100 planets, still use procedurally generated content, and made kind of that initial experience better? Because I remember taking it back to when I worked in the industry, I was in game testing. They always made us test the first 10 hours of the game more than the rest because they knew that
Right.
that was going to be where the reviews come from, where the main player experience is. We hardly played the last level. Like I remember on European Assault, which is a PS2 game, taking it way back. I mean, the number of times I played the first two levels, thousands of times. The last level, a dozen. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, we can get to the end. Okay, that level's good,
Yep.
right? The first
Yep.
level, you're like, can I fall through the cracks?
Yeah.
Can I
Try
do
to break
this?
it.
Yeah,
Yep.
but I think would it have been better if Todd said we're doing 100 planets and then we're going to take extra time and 10% of those planets we're really going to tell the procedural generation to go hard on these 10 planets. And I mean, I don't know,
I
I can't
think,
even make that argument really.
well, here's the thing. You're asking a valid question, and that's the question that everyone I think is asking. But here's the question I don't see anyone asking, and I think this is more important. If you strip away all like the game that exists right now, if you strip away all the procedural planets and the emptiness and the POIs, you take all that away and you only leave the handcrafted content, is it a complete game?
Hmm.
Because their claim, and I haven't verified this, but the claim right from the get go was that despite the procedural stuff, this game has more handcrafted content like levels, characters, etc., than any of their previous games.
Right.
If that's true, then the whole Thousand Planets thing and boring planets
Hmm.
is kind of moot.
Right.
It's a moot point because, like, I see people saying like, "Oh, all these empty planets." Yeah, but you can ignore that. If there is a complete and full game that takes you 30 hours to complete, and then on top of that, there's all these other empty planets,
Hmm.
then that's just gravy.
Let me ask you this. In Minecraft, there's the seed, which
Yeah.
is, I guess, the start of a procedurally generated world.
Right, where you can
So
actually get the same procedurally generated world as someone else.
thinking from a modding standpoint, could I grab someone else's seed and then, you know, here's where I'm getting at. Like,
Yeah,
I'm thinking of ways to get people excited about these 1,000 planets.
right.
What if you could own a little chunk, a
Yeah,
little chunk of a planet
yeah.
somewhere, and you could go and your friend could see maybe your out. I mean, this is getting crazy technical, but I don't know. I'm like, maybe if players could pick a planet, own a part of it somehow,
Yeah.
that would perpetuate into other people's games. Nah, that's
Well, no,
that
no,
idea is
but
crazy.
you're making a good point because we've already seen this sort of done
Hmm.
in No Man's Sky.
I was gonna say Homeworld, like Homeworld. I don't think that's
Oh, I haven't
procedurally
played that.
generated. I'll let you
Right.
finish with No Man's
Yeah.
Sky.
Well, in No Man's Sky, it's procedural, but it's all based on a seed.
Right.
So it's all mathematics. And in that game, well, in that game they have, billions and billions of planets,
Hmm.
theoretically, because it's sort of like endless.
Billions.
Yeah. But it's however, you see the same stuff over and over again.
Hmm.
Like there's like 20
You've
or
seen one.
so
You've seen a
types.
billion.
Yeah, it gets that way. And I love the game, but it's a it seems like a simplified looking game compared to Starfield.
Hmm.
Starfield, obviously, it's more recent. So Starfield to me looks a lot better. But I played a lot of No Man's Sky, and yes, you could land on a planet, and even though it's procedurally generated, when your friends landed on that same planet in the same spot, it
Hmm.
looked the same.
Right.
They had the same mountains and the same valleys, etc. So it is possible.
That kind of happens in Starfield because, as we're finding out with the sack, the things
Right.
that people are seeing are pretty much the same. They're just kind of in different spots. Right.
Yeah, the only thing that I question is something that it was either Todd or one of the developers said in an interview. They clarified that, well, the if you go to that same planet, you probably are not going to see the same areas that your friends do. But I don't know if that's because it's generating differently for each person, or if it like that when you put a point down on the map
Hmm.
and then move slightly a few pixels to the left, that's a whole new area.
Right. You're
So I
not going to run into your old landing spot when you make a new landing spot, even if you try to get it right next
yeah,
to the first one.
only if you go to the marker like on the map.
Hmm.
But so my question is, did they say that we're not going to see the same thing as our friends because there's so many, almost every pixel is a point, a landing spot, or is it because it actually is generating differently every time you play?
Yeah, that actually made me think of, like, each pixel is a separate generated huge swath of land, right?
Yeah,
What
massive.
what was it? 4 hours in one direction walking or something, like,
It was something like that.
75 minutes or whatever it was.
Oh, I think it was like 45 minutes, but like running and jetpacking.
Okay.
I don't know, something like that. And they say it's bigger than Skyrim. Each swath of land is bigger than Skyrim.
So what if Starfield wasn't Starfield and it was Earthfield, and you're just basically exploring a planet, because you would have conceivably as many
Oh, yeah.
opportunities, over 1,000. You would basically have millions of quadrants or procedurally generated boxes
Oh,
of
yeah.
content on one planet. As I mean, Starfield has that too, but Starfield
Right.
doesn't dedicate, they only dedicate resources or biomes per planet, whereas like a Earth like planet can have thousands of different biomes.
That is so okay. What this is like the first interesting argument I've heard, like where, yeah, I think you could absolutely take this system and make an entire game that is very interesting based on one huge planet.
Hmm.
Because yeah, you could like it's it's really funny. I've seen people post screenshots where they've got like hundreds of markers
Oh,
around one
wow.
planet
That's cool.
because they just kept landing in different spots and checking things out and scanning
Instead of going to 100 planets, they went to the same planet 100
like a
times.
hundred
And
times.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so instead of like getting to a screen after 45-minute run that says, sorry, you're too far away from your spaceship, or you reach the boundary or whatever, all you would have to do is hide it so that you
Right.
enter a cloud or something, and then you're in the next quadrant.
Yeah. What would be? Yeah, I wonder what would be an interesting way to do that.
But I'm excited for mods on PC and Xbox that
Wait,
will open this up.
let's go back to what you just said
Okay.
because I just realized something that I wish they had done.
Hmm.
I wish instead of it saying go back to your ship, I wish it just said you've reached the end of this area. Would you like to continue to the next one?
Mm,
And I don't even care, people hating on loading screens. I don't even care. But imagine if they did that and it just blacks out for a second and then loads you in the next one and you're at the very edge of that one and you keep on going.
right.
I would be into that because if you could map a giant section of that planet like square by square,
Hmm.
that could be, I don't know, that could be interesting.
That could be. I also just now thought of an idea where you call your ship to you.
Yep.
So,
No Man's
like,
Sky does that.
does
Yep.
it? Okay.
Yep.
But that'd be neat to see your ship. Just say, "Hey, beep! I need my ship to me," and it takes off and it flies over to you. I know you
Yeah.
can fast travel to it, but it'd be cool to
Because
see the ship come to you.
they already have the animation
Yeah.
of the ship landing. I agree. And like I love when I'm in a town or whatever, I love seeing the busy spaceport
Hmm.
and the ships coming down and going.
Right.
I really like that. And it would be cool to have your crew bring your ship to you. Um,
Do you have anything else to wrap up the 1,000 versus 100 debate, or what? Where do you stand
I
on that?
still I still stand on the Thousand Planets because the game has only been out for 2 months and they are going to support the game for 5 years. They're going to add DLCs. It's, I believe it when they say that this game will be a modder's paradise
Hmm.
because they will be able to choose one of these planets and craft a new story on it.
Right.
And we're going to get that for years.
Hmm.
I see this game as like with their schedule, we're not going to see Starfield 2 for a long time. I might be dead. Like, because we're now waiting for the next Elder Scrolls, which
Hmm.
I'm very excited about.
Fallout was
Fallout will be
announced.
after that.
Yeah.
I don't think it's announced. I think they said
There was
that
something
is the
a couple
next
weeks.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just said, yeah, Fallout's probably the next thing. So it's going to be a long time before we get Starfield 2. But
Mm.
maybe we don't need Starfield 2 because if in between these other games, if Starfield is successful enough, they'll make another content pack, another
Hmm.
story. Like,
And I'm just thinking of all the the official DLC as well as the mods for Fallout 3.
mhm.
So that game, the experience from day 1 versus day 10,000 when you could buy it with all the DLC and go and look at all the cool mods like
Yeah.
updated graphics and whatever else. I mean, it was a completely different game more or less, but
I loved in Fallout 3 we got Point Lookout, which
mhm,
was like the bayou. And it was a big enough area of land that like if you wanted to just role play there, you could just go there and stay for a long time.
yeah.
And then similar to I made this mistake I said Point Lookout was in Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has in our first episode. Fallout 4 has Far Harbor, which
Mhm.
similarly it's like a fishing town, so different from the rest of Fallout 4.
Yeah.
and it's big enough that you can just live. Actually, do we want to talk about the possible survival mode and what I think Bethesda needs to change?
Sure.
I was talking to some friends and I said, I love Skyrim and I love survival mode, but survival mode just showed how Bethesda for some reason loves to program all their missions to be like, go here, now go across the map. Okay, now come back and tell me what happened.
Fetch quests.
Yeah, but like that's fine when you can fast travel. But I remember playing survival mode and just saying like, I want to just stay in an area and do everything there and then move on to the next town.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost impossible because you'll go to this
You
town
get
and they'll
new
say,
quests.
"Hey, can you go across the entire map?" And so I don't know. I don't know what I'm expecting from Starfield because it is a space. You know, you are supposed to travel back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm okay with that if it's like you can't fast travel to your ship. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's in their game development mind. They're thinking, how do we get the player to spend more time in the game? If they get new quests, we send them to a new place. So there's the excitement of going to a new place.
You're always seeing
You're
something
seeing something
different.
new. You're
Yep.
getting a quest to go here, go there. So it makes the fetch quest feel a little more interesting. And then you have your main storyline, in the middle of all that stuff. So
Yeah.
there really isn't, I don't know that there's a better way to do a game like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's just how you craft it and how you make the experience that makes it, you know, less of a bitter pill to swallow, I guess.
We've seen all different types of space exploration games. We've seen Outer Worlds where it it's just a small area and then you're told that you fly to a new area and then it's another small area.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have other games like No Man's Sky where it's seamless star travel down to the planet, you land. But like you want to talk about boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are very empty planets. Like even more so than Starfield.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Quickly has to go play some other games and realize how great that Starfield is.
Yeah,
how amazing it is.
It's
it does
a combination
things that you
of all
don't
these
realize
games.
it's doing.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick example. I was on this little tiny planet called Pup One, just a little ice ball, and I was just I forget, I had to leave my computer. I came back for a second and I noticed, because it was a small planet, the star was moving across the sky very quickly.
Oh, interesting.
So I was seeing these long shadows creep across the land, and it was just really well done. I'm like,
yeah,
how they did this to make this happen, it took a lot of work, and it paid off. And then also, it's not the Milky Way, but whatever galaxy I was in was a visible, in the sky, and it was moving. And then the sun was moving, and it was just like, and this was just a barren ice planet.
And they say that the sun it's all in like perspective of where it is in that solar system.
Right. So like the time is kind of brilliant. Like the time works, like how the size of the planets and how they're, it seems to be all calculated.
You mentioned shadows. This is something that doesn't, we talked about how there's a lot of things that are not immediately apparent.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things is the way that shadows work.
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time, it just looks like it looks like any other game. And then there was a moment where a ship was landing. I saw that friggin' shadow from across like the entire landscape,
mm-hmm.
moving across the ground to meet where the ship landed.
That's awesome.
And it's those little moments where you go, oh wow, like
the real-time shadows in this game are incredible.
Yeah. And most games, to save bandwidth or, processing, there's a certain distance at which you won't see those shadows anymore.
Right.
They'll fade away. And that it's such a small thing, but that is what is making this game push to the next level.
Hmm.
And
I go back to what I
yeah.
said before, which is it feels like this is a Lego set that they have given us.
Mhm.
And there are other Lego sets that we're going to get mods or
Or
DLC,
DLC
and
official
we'll be
and
able to build onto this existing base plate, if you will. And I don't know, I'm excited about just the continued support for the game and more discoveries. And I think, hey, if you're getting kind of bored with the game, then just look around once in a while.
yeah.
Because what I found, I was like, oh, I got to get over to this base, and so I'm hopping over, boosting over to wherever, and I was like, this is kind of boring. But then I started looking around and seeing kind of, in going back to the Bethesda executive who was talking about they weren't bored when they landed on the moon. It was that kind of feeling of like this experience of flying across a new planet and seeing new things. So I mean
Yeah.
that does only get you so far, but if you're
Sure.
ignoring it all the time, that's my point, is like take a look around once in a while, look up in the stars and look on the ground, the features aside from um the mission, I guess.
And can we just say that not every game is for everyone? Like, if
Yeah,
you don't like that, if you don't like looking out at the horizon or exploring or looking at the stars, uh, this
that's
game's
okay. Go
not for
play
you.
Spider-Man 2
Yeah, play
for
Spider-Man
12
2.
hours and
Yeah.
go through it.
Yeah, I
I
saw
heard that game's
people like
amazing.
yeah, I hear it's amazing. Definitely not talking smack about Spider-Man, but it's like that's that formula.
Hmm.
That's that formula of the third person action game from Sony, and it's a great formula, but you're going to finish the game in 20 hours and then that's it. And that's fine. I love short games, by the way.
Yeah.
Um Here's the thing about also Starfield. I get it. I get that yes, their points of interest are very copy paste.
Hmm.
Am I disappointed? Yeah, I'm disappointed because I thought the points of interest, like the labs and stuff, would also be procedurally generated, and
Right.
so that the hallways would be different. That is a bummer.
I wonder if they tried that and it was just frustrating because it's like a
Yeah,
room that dead ends and then another hallway that dead ends because it's all procedurally
yeah.
generated.
I
Like
mean, other games have
sometimes those
done
are
it.
tough. Have they?
Yeah, there's games. I mean, there's so many procedurally generated like dungeon games now,
Mm.
but
Hmm.
I could see
Diablo
where
2,
I
3,
could
4.
see where it messed with their physics and stuff. And like their, we talked about the junk placement, like
Hmm.
the stuff in the rooms. I don't know. But here's the thing. Somebody actually posted on Reddit. They were like, "What the heck is this?" And I'll post this image in the Discord when the episode goes live.
Hmm.
It is a horrendous creature. And apparently, you know how all the creatures have a name and a level?
Hmm.
This one has no name. It
Really?
just has a level above its head.
Whoa.
Apparently, there are still things in the game that are very rare to find.
Hmm.
So if anyone, if you're like Duane said, if you're getting bored and you still want to keep playing, you should know that, after a while you'll see the same animals, you'll see this, you'll see that, but there are still rare things that only pop up every so often.
There is no cow level.
No, yeah. Diablo's got that cornered. Actually, was there a cow level in the new Diablo? I don't even know.
There is no cow level.
What?
Well, apparently, there is very specific questing. Kill 666 cows,
Oh,
wait
okay.
666,000 seconds, and then kill another 666 cows, and then receive an artifact. I don't know. It's pretty
Yeah.
complicated, but it's
Wow.
just the kind of thing that Blizzard has been known for, to
Yeah.
send people on these quests to get crazy items. I remember doing stuff like that in WoW, where you needed to unlock a pet or a mount, and you had to go jump through all these hoops to get. And then when people saw that mount, they're like, "Oh, that's so cool! How do you do it? I'm gonna go look up how to do it." And then you look up how to do it, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't have
I don't
500 free
sound.
hours to go
I don't feel like doing that.
farm 10 million of these crystals to turn in for this." And
If anyone wants to find the creature that I'm talking about, so this was posted on the Starfield subreddit by someone named PS1 Gamer Collector, and someone replied and said that they are called hunting silverfish. So I don't
mm,
know why the name wasn't above the head for this
it was one of those
player.
head delete bugs.
Yeah. Someone said that they have encountered them in Kazal near the sulfur mines.
Hmm.
That's all I know. Go find it. Apparently they're pretty terrifying.
I saw a really neat video of a huge insectoid creature that I was like, "Oh, this is awesome!" Like I didn't know there were giant animals and bugs and aliens. There
Right.
aren't. Someone just went to the console and
Oh,
typed in, whatever the console
yeah.
command is to make the creature bigger, but they should, because
They
it's
should.
awesome. I don't know why
Yeah.
they did. I mean, probably processing and all that, but
Yeah, I hope.
the
Yeah.
scale, it was this giant kind of like I don't even know how to describe it, like segmented insect thing with horns, kind of like a praying mantis crossed with a worm or something. But
Well,
what's cool is you're flying around it and you're like landing on it, and I don't know, like
oh yeah.
it would seem like that would be a way that they could really bump up the excitement when
That'd be the
fighting these
next
creatures
thing.
by
They've
scaling
got
them
to.
in different ways.
They've got to. Cuz I know that yeah, you don't get anything massive, but I've seen some creatures that are pretty big.
Hmm.
And because of the game, like how far away they process things, like
Yeah.
shadows and creatures, seeing larger creatures on the horizon, like way in the distance, where you kind of go, okay, is that thing as big as I think it is? Like, because
Sure.
I feel like they're far away. That's such a cool feeling. And I'm just imagining something even more massive, something gargantuan. Yeah, I
Am
agree.
am I
They've
the
got
only
to do
one
that.
that walks into a cave and sees like those little petrified bugs and is like kind of initially freaked out because I have my scanner on and I see like petrified animals and I think they're real for a second. So I switch
Wait
over
a
to my
minute.
gun.
I don't even
That
know.
hasn't happened to you?
I haven't seen this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You've been in caves, right?
Yeah. I hate caves.
I hate caves. Caves are pretty like
They're hard to
there's
navigate.
nothing. What do you do in caves? There's
I
nothing in there,
I
right?
haven't been
It's
rewarded
purely for
enough.
scanning, right?
Yeah, and even then, I was on a planet where I could not find the final resource, and I was like, "Fine, I'll go in a cave." And it wasn't. And then I didn't find anything in there. Like I just a waste of time.
Yeah, they're really small.
I'll say,
Firstly, and then
yeah.
there's petrified, lots like the little cockroach looking smaller stuff
I guess
is
I've missed
often,
that. I'll have to look.
but I saw bigger petrified stuff in the last one I was in.
I have a funny thing that happened to me in a cave when I was first playing the game. You and I had talked about terramorphs, and I had said that I had not seen a terramorph yet.
Hmm.
So I hadn't done any of the stories that like take you to see a terramorph. So what's funny is I got to a random cave, and the first time I encountered a terramorph, it was an albino
Oh
terramorph.
wow,
It was this white, pasty, pinkish, modules
that's
or whatever on it. It was
frightening.
terrifying. Yeah. And I was just like, wow, this is funny. Like
Wait, that was in the cave?
it was in the
No
cave.
way, because I've never come across anything alive in any of the caves I've been in.
Yeah.
So to find a terramorph in a cave, so that's what should be in caves, in my opinion,
Yeah.
right?
Well, for
Something
me,
terrifying.
for me, it was like, yeah, it was scary. Like, I think I got into this cave and there were like some like dead bodies. And so then I'm like detective mode. Ooh, what
Hmm.
happened to them? And then friggin' albino terrormorph.
Well, let's wrap up our 100 versus 1,000 planets. Michael, I'm leaning toward the 1,000, but I took the 100 planet just as devil's advocate. But
Yeah.
I look, the amount of planets isn't all that important. It's kind of the overall gameplay as always.
Right.
And I do think that it's probably better to have more than less, especially when it's procedurally generated. Why not? So,
Yeah.
what do you guys think? I mean, let us know in Discord or on the YouTube channel. Type a comment. We love to read them. Would you rather have 100 planets that are more fleshed out, or 10, or maybe even just one where you just go to a new section for hundreds and thousands of times? Should we cover they have a patch coming out? Should we cover that real quick?
Yeah, they've got a patch coming out soon. It's going to be in beta testing on Steam, which I think is really the smart way to do it.
Totally
You
is.
know?
Don't roll it out to the general unwashed masses until a few
Yeah.
of us hardcore PC gamers get in there, and we'll let you know about our complaints.
Yeah.
I'm going to do the beta because it's offering DLSS,
Right.
which they had that whole AMD exclusive where apparently they let Nvidia card users left us out to
Yeah,
to
they had a
hang
deal with
to
AMD,
dry.
so they left
Yeah.
you out to dry. Well, let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Are you going to venture into that beta with your character, or are you going to create a new character just in case?
Yeah, I'll just use my character. I'm only still at level 21 or something. I've been taking it really slow. Although I went out, I did some XP farming just because I wanted to get the last shotgun certification.
Yeah.
I did that, and then this last episode, of course, I did Bessel 3B. We'll talk about that in a minute, but
Yep.
also did that exploration of Pup 1, and ran into uh, colonists for the first time, which was cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Those are fun to
yeah, I'll
find.
do the beta. Why not? If it breaks my game, then it's not going to be that big a deal to start over.
Mhm. I'm up to level 63.
Congrats.
Yeah. And then what's crazy is then I have this friend on Facebook that he was like, "Oh, I'm level 103 and I've done like he's literally done everything in the game."
Hmm.
Like before like he
Everything?
that he's
All
saying
1,000 planets?
that he basically is saying that like he was waiting
a
to do
liar.
New Game Plus until he had like basically cleared his entire list of which is insane. I don't
Mhm.
think I ever cleared my list in Skyrim or Fallout. Like,
That's a monumental task,
yeah.
honestly.
But honestly, I've done more in Starfield, like completion wise, than I've ever done for Skyrim or Fallout.
I'm
It's
feeling
interesting.
like I haven't, because I don't have as many hours in as Fallout 3 and 4, but I'll probably get there.
For some reason, there's just something about it that's it's easier to want to keep completing stuff.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Should we get into our listener feedback?
Yeah, listener feedback, and are we combining that with the Starfield Adventure Club?
Yeah. I mean, our sack is bursting with great stories. The Starfield Action Club, Adventure
Yeah,
Club.
the Starfield Adventure Club. Yes. So, for anyone that's listening for the first time, Starfield Adventure Club is when we pick a planet, sort of, but not really at random.
And then we ruin your game.
And then we break,
Like last
yeah,
week.
Dwayne almost broke people's games last week.
Sorry.
But
Sorry-ish.
I think everyone was fine. But we all go to the same planet and then we share screenshots and stories. And some people make stories like they have a whole narrative, which is
It
really
is awesome.
fun.
Yeah, I'm thinking of creating ranks. So, like 5 SAC reports ranks you up. Something like that. Like
Oh,
maybe we can do flair of some kind, whether in Discord or
oh, we should.
yeah. So like you have 5 stories, five SAC reports, and you get like adventure unlocked or something, whatever.
Yeah, we've got to do something like
Yeah.
that.
So we've got good ideas, and also I want to make a coffee mug that is a prize for like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Starfield Adventure Club Story of the Week, and you'll get a coffee mug. Is that too expensive? Can we afford that?
Can we afford that? Maybe.
I'll do it. I'll do it out of my
We can
own.
do it.
I'll mow some lawns this week and earn some extra dollars,
Yeah.
and because I feel like there's been some awesome ones, and I want to reward our listeners. And everybody drinks coffee or hot
Or
chocolate
something.
or
Yeah.
something. You can
You
use
can
a
always
mug, right?
you can I think everyone can use a coffee mug,
And
even if you don't drink coffee.
yeah, your significant other will be like, why are you what is this? You're such a dork. No, not really. They'll steal it and they'll use it for their coffee.
Torsten on our Discord found the My Life Chunk by Chunk book
Yes.
by the founder of Chunks, and he found that on Bessel 3B, which is where we all went. And I've seen that elsewhere, but it was fun that they found that there.
Chunk by chunk.
Continuing on that point is that Slappy 92 found an abandoned outpost where people were saying, "Don't eat the chunks." Like he found he found graffiti.
Oh, right. Like whiteboard stuff.
Yeah,
right?
whiteboard drawings that say "Don't eat the
great.
chunks." So yeah, and then someone said just terrible, and they spelled, oh, that's for the Terra Brew because they spelled it Terra. But yeah, so there's that's a big debate too. Should you eat chunks?
Indeed, it is. Shout out to Chuck G. Violin, who reported on our Adventure Club, and he said, so I now have 2 outposts on the vacuum cleaner moon, aka Bissell, Bessel 3B. One is a mountaintop home with nearly 360 views of the ocean. The other is for the iron I need to build stuff. Are you like me? Are you putting an outpost? Yo, we should put an outpost on every planet that we go to for the Adventure Club.
Yeah,
that should be a thing.
Yeah, but you run out unless you can only
be
do
a
a
lot.
certain amount. Yeah.
Oh, wait, you have a limit on outposts?
So I think there's a limit of it's either 5 or 6.
Oh, no way.
Unless
So I learned something.
Yeah, so you can actually unlock outpost skills.
Oh.
I think then
you got to spec some points in to unlock more.
You can get up to 12 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. Just to finish up with Chuck, he said, even better, my scenic aluminum farm is right next to a deserted elliptical base, so free XP anytime I like. Chuck, thanks for those comments. And we also got a great one from Space Cadet.
Zigra Rocks was having some issues, I guess, establishing bases on Bessel, but every time he was surrounded by anomalies. Oh, that is an anomaly planet.
So there was a glitch.
So maybe,
in the universe.
Because you have to be a certain distance away from them to start an outpost. So that's probably what they were running into.
By the way, is the glitch too subtle? The anomaly. Is the anomaly too subtle?
It's pretty subtle.
It's pretty subtle, right?
I think it's obvious once you've seen it after a bit, after you've done it. But I will say the first time I did the mission, I was like, what am I looking for?
Right.
So yeah, it was very subtle the first time.
It seemed like because that could have just been interference from the planet's surface or something like that instead of, which is exactly what an anomaly is. So maybe they nailed it.
But I thought it was funny that Zigra Rocks ran into an angry miner in the middle of nowhere, and she was mad that they were jumping her claim.
I had the same exact experience. Random angry miner all alone in the middle of nowhere, instantly accusing me of stealing stuff from them. So
that's funny. I haven't encountered them at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love getting these screenshots though, because Chuck G Violin, like getting ocean view like almost all the way around. Like I guess they found like a peninsula to build on. That's really cool.
Yeah. Florida in space. Yeah.
That's the game they need to make. Florida in space.
Space Cadet says they found a beautiful crater with crystals sticking out of the rocks. He said, not sure if there are any value in these, but it sure was pretty to look at. To my point earlier, right? Running around seeing cool stuff. Yep. They also said, but with the scan complete and no more significant point of interest in sight, we figured it was time to call the mission. Not much else to see on this vacuum rock. Thank you, everyone, for giving vacuum cleaner references. I was laughing
it was fun,
I was reading those.
RS posted in the Discord and ran into a ton of Varun zealots.
Yes.
Surprisingly, I guess. So I don't know. Did you run? I didn't run into any.
None.
Yeah. And they just kept coming after RS. So I don't know what's going on there. Must have made them mad.
I'm sure he brought a fruit cake to give to them.
Yeah, you got to have some sort of peace offering. But yeah, Scotty went to Bessel, but also gave us a nice look at their ship. Which is very cool.
He did indeed. I love the ship that he built. It's very sleek. It looks like new Star Wars. You get that new Star Wars Lego set that I'm into Lego, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
But it's more sleek. It still kind of has a little bit of human NASA punk to it. But yeah, I appreciated that design. And actually, Scotty wins our Starfield Adventure Club Story of the Week with his amazing story. You should head over to our Discord and read it in its entirety. He's actually probably seen the movie Strange Brew. Michael, have you ever seen Strange Brew?
I know what it is, but I never watched it.
Take off, you hoser.
I was going to say, so definitely people should go and read his story and look at because he's got screenshots and everything. But I thought it was funny. He said, he advises everyone, don't lick these. And it's like these weird, eggs, fungus or something.
Right.
And he's got a screenshot of his guy
The Last of Us
down, like licking these things. So that was pretty funny.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. I mean, hey, thanks for trying it out and being the guinea pig.
Scotty, you don't get a mug yet. I've got to go mow some lawns, but you get a nod and just acknowledgement for your awesome story.
Turok Dinosaur Hunter shared an image, approaching a view from above Vessel 3B.
Clever.
And their ship is called the Neckbeard. I want to say it's like the Neckbeard 4.
I think it's 6.
It's 6, okay. But it's a good-looking ship.
Right, and he said that he found he captured a huge Class C ship with a crazy powerful reactor. So pretty soon he's moving on to the Neckbeard 7.
Neckbeard 7, yeah.
And, Turok Dinosaur Hunter, I tip my fedora to you, sir. Milady.
Milady.
But he has a C-class license already? Oh, I got to spec more points in piloting.
I had to do that.
I need 3 more points to get to C-class. I only have the first point still.
After 2 times where I tried to hijack a ship and it was like, you can't fly this, I don't
even bother because I figure I'm going to go try to hijack it and I'm going to get stuck in space on a ship that, I can't fly.
You can't fly anywhere.
And no one else can fly, apparently, even though they have credentials. Oh, did you see that list? Just getting off topic a little bit. The list of the best crew to have on your ship. Maybe I'll find that and link it in the Discord. But Sarah Morgan is actually like number 1.
Her stats are crazy.
Her stats are amazing. Yeah, she can do it all. She's like, I can do space lasers. I can eat chunks. She does it all. Cargo.
I actually, just to mix things up, I left Sarah and every main character, I left them at the lodge. And I've actually started to just hire people in bars and spaceports. So you have
randos.
Totally random crew. Yeah. And it's been interesting. Thanks everyone. And of course, we need to tell you where to go for this week's Starfield Adventure Club. This week, we are going to a planet called Al-Batani 2. And so that's Al-Batani 2. And I'll share the screenshot in the Discord as well. But I'll tell you where it is. If you know where Porima is, and if you go on the star map to the right, you will find another little star cluster, and in that star cluster is Al-Batani. So inside of that...
I'll be checking that place out.
Inside that little star system, you will find Al-Batani 2. And this is a rock planet. It is a temperate temperature. The magnetosphere is weak, so... that'll be fun, jumping around. And then also we've got some fauna and flora. 7 fauna, 3 flora. The water is safe. So if you want to go swimming, this is the place to do it.
Right on. I'll bring my swimsuit.
Yeah. Put the whole crew in swimsuits. I know some people have done that, you weirdos. Like my friends.
Speedos.
Yeah. So I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah, thanks to everyone that listens on Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcasts. And thank you to those watching on YouTube. All links are provided in the show notes below.
An extra special thanks for comments and feedback. We always love reading those. And if you have a comment, suggestion, or an in-game story to share, you can pop over to our Discord. The link is in our notes. And you can also come to our YouTube page and leave a comment there.
Indeed. If you like the show, consider dropping a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That would actually probably help us out, Michael. How does it help us out? I think it makes it like go
I
appear
think
on
when you
people's
have
screens
good
more or what?
ratings, like I think when you have a good rating, people are more inclined to click on it and
Yeah,
check it out, especially if you have a large amount of
I
ratings. It's
see.
not just about the stars,
I
but
saw someone
it's
put 5 asterisks in a comment on
yeah, yeah,
Spotify. I was
yeah,
like,
we got
thanks.
that comment.
Thanks,
Yeah,
buddy.
you can also on Spotify every time it goes up, there's a little poll there that says, "What did you think of the podcast?" So love reading those comments there as
Yeah,
well.
they're really fun to read.
Appreciate that.
Thanks for traveling the Starfield with us. Make sure you subscribe because we will be back for more and a brand new planet for the Starfield Adventure Club next week.
All right, we will see you then.